Gentleman who's back, Ms. Balint.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member Boyle. Here's the deal. So we're 4 weeks in to the Trump administration, and Republicans in Congress are betraying not just the middle class, but working people across this country. Republicans have the House, they have the Senate, they have the White House, and they could be passing legislation to make your life more affordable. They could be working to bring down the costs on groceries, prescription drugs, housing, but instead, Trump is shutting down vital programs that protect and support Americans across this country, and Republicans are letting him do it. Just this week, the Trump administration shut down the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the agency that's responsible for protecting us from waste, fraud, and abuse. The CFPB is one of the few places in government actually charged with standing up to the big banks and the corporations who've ripped off consumers. It has sent $21 billion back to those victims of corporate crimes. Every single state has benefited from the work of the CFPB. Shutting it down, I believe, reveals a deep, deep contempt and cynicism. This president should be laser focused on bringing down costs for Americans and making sure everyone can live a life of security and dignity. But instead, what we are seeing is this administration is taking a wrecking ball to the programs that provide Americans with relief and just some economic security. And again, Republicans are letting him do it. The Republican budget resolution is a deep betrayal of working people in all of our districts. My colleagues have proposed a budget roadmap that gives massive tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans and corporations. And how will they pay for the rich getting richer? By making deep cuts to Medicaid and food assistance programs. They are kicking the poor and the middle class to give the ultra-wealthy another unneeded break. So who are those people that are going to be affected? Here are the people I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about a woman in South Royalton, Vermont, who called my office, and she told me that she prepaid for all of her home heating oil, but now she's being charged an additional 10% on top of that because the company fears the trade war that's going to be coming with Canada. I'm thinking about the families on Head Start that are calling my office saying they don't know if they're going to have an education program for their kids because Trump froze the federal funding. It creates hardship and anxiety for people who are just trying to make ends meet. What has happened these 4 weeks is a clear indication of who Trump cares about and who he is not thinking about. But I'm thinking about all the small businesses that have called my office to say that they would be absolutely crushed by a trade war with Canada. They need predictability. They need stability. Everyone who runs a small business knows that because it's such a tight margin. Trump's recklessness and the Republicans' silence about it is a kick in the teeth to working people and small business owners in all of our districts. And look, it's clear from the chaos and the confusion that Republicans are really trying to bury the details. We know what they're trying to do here. They have to cut trillions of dollars of programs in their scheme that people rely on to get the rich their tax cuts that they're demanding. The wealthy in this country are doing just fine. They don't need any more advantages. They don't need a hand up. And certainly not if it means cutting aid to farmers, cutting food programs, cutting Medicaid so that your mother or grandmother can't afford a nursing home. Because that's the stark reality of it. You go after Medicaid, you're hurting your mom or your grandma who can't age with dignity because billionaires need another tax cut. 71% of Americans believe the system is rigged, and they are not wrong. The extremely wealthy in this country have been coddled, and the working class and the middle class have been cheated. The social contract that binds us together has been broken. In 1973, the top 1% took home 9% of the income. But today, it's 27%. Over a quarter of the income in this country going to the richest. It's obviously unfair and has created such deep frustration and anger in this country. By supporting another massive tax break to the wealthiest, my Republican colleagues will be voting for more hardships for working-class Americans. Don't let the betrayal continue. I urge my colleagues to reject this. I yield back.